This feels funny.
How so?
It's like we're talking to each other through the mic, but we're
Sitting across from each other.
directly facing each other.
How you doing?
Interesting. I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
How's the prep for your film coming along? I've just asked you, but
Pretty good. Probably gonna try and do some rehearsals, maybe this weekend or sort of beginning of next week. So I've got to plan that out because I've realized there's a lot of movement happening in the film that I need to sort of get a grip on. And a lot of it that I feel like if I just go into the film and start shooting, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm going to be all over the place and it's going to take a really long time. But yeah, I'm hoping that the weather kind of just clears up a little bit because currently I'm trying to shoot outside and it's like
it's raining.
with how it is
soaking.
currently, it's going to be kind of hard to really shoot. I mean, I'm looking at all the days, and it's just every day there's some point where it's raining, and my outdoor shoot's going to be probably quite long, so I don't really know how that's going to work out, but hopefully that should be fine. That's the one I'm mostly worried about. The rest of them, though, they're pretty okay.
Are they indoors or are they all outdoors? Most of them are.
Well, indoor, yeah, the
Yeah.
shoot, yeah. Well, as I said, yeah, most of them are indoors. And that I can probably do over like 2 days. Just need to, just need to get to those rooms, and I mean it's all in Thornley, so I'll just have the equipment there, and that'll just be so much easier. Which, yeah, I didn't really want to have to shoot elsewhere, and those rooms are convenient for what I'm shooting. So
Especially with the risk assessment and getting the location permission. How has that been tackling that?
fine. I mean, like for Thornley, I asked JP about it, and he said, yeah, I can book those rooms. So I don't really there's no like external sort of as far as I've been told, there's no other external sort of agreements that have to be made because it's just in his own building. So that's not really been a problem. And then for outdoors, to be honest, I keep sort of switching the spot that I want to use because with mud and rain outside, it's really hard to find sort of a stable spot where it's not just really wet outside. And I haven't really found that yet. That's why I brought my boots out today because I'm probably gonna go for a little hike. See if I can properly scout out where I want to do it because I failed the other day. It started raining and then I got distracted and started taking pictures of stuff, but I didn't really get anywhere with that. So
Yeah. So can you provide some context to your film for the one person that probably listens to this? Could you provide some context what your film's about?
Yeah,
What's it
sure.
called?
So I mean, it's fairly straightforward in terms of what kind of themes it's tackling. It's just sort of talking about a character who's been sort of dealing with a lot in his life, sort of trying to connect with the people around him. And you see, like, at the start of the film, he's just has loads of missed calls and messages that he just hasn't replied to on his phone. And as he comes home to his flat, he wanders into this corridor which he doesn't recognize. And as he comes in, there are 3 doors that sort of are ajar, and he goes into each one and sort of discovers something new that he hasn't necessarily fully come to terms with in terms of how he's isolating himself from the people around him, but also how people actually do perceive him and want to be around him. And sort of it's a film that's sort of covering that track of him coming to realize that he should appreciate the people around him more, because the more he stops talking, the more he sort of is going to end up locking himself away and not being able to sort of escape that feeling. It's something that I've kind of based on some personal experience, but not to the sort of extreme extent that it's displayed in the film. Something a bit more casual, but still something that I've very much sort of felt not too long ago. So it's it's something I can sort of connect to.
It's important that you're like highlighting the theme of appreciation. That's similar to what I'm doing in my film. I mean, we're doing it in the context of relationships, but mine's romantic, whereas yours is more friendship.
Yeah, I
So,
suppose.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really think going down the relationship route. It seems like, well, I've spoken to a lot of other people who seem to be sort of tackling that in some way. I was helping with Annabelle's film, and I mean, hers has changed very much from what it was. I remember hearing about it first. It was something about kind of similar to mine, actually, sort of talking about someone who's just feeling quite lonely and going about their day, and then I got outside to start shooting one of her scenes, and she's telling me it's all about someone who's had their like sex tape released to all their friends. It's a very different, quite heavy topic, so I was surprised that she sort of changed it so much, but maybe the original script she wasn't quite feeling it, so that's fair. But I've very much stuck with my original script since the start, so that's been going full force on that, and I'm excited to sort of keep going in that
direction. It's crazy, isn't it, looking back from last year when we had Repression, and then how we had Annabelle's one of the actresses. She's now a director, and I've been speaking to her how she'd been finding that, because it's obviously so much more different when you're behind the scenes and trying to organise people with directing.
Yeah,
I feel like you probably would be, with the experience that you got from last year from Repression directing, it'll probably help you when it comes to your film.
Oh yeah,
now.
Certainly.
Because I did some rehearsals on Sunday for my film, and I was sort of, I wouldn't say struggling, but because it's my first sort of time directing, telling people what to do, it was a bit of a challenge,
Yeah. No, I completely get that. It's a sort of weird process that you're going to, because it's like, it's my idea. I know what I want, but at the same time, you sort of, when you're getting to it, and you've had to visualize what you want to do, it's like, now's your time to actually do it. And in that moment, there's actually so many more things that actually come into play that you have to account for when you're directing all these people and crew and everything, and that actually ends up becoming much more of a challenge than you'd expect. So it's quite interesting to see that.
Yeah, we always joke about Repression and how fun that was to film.
Yeah.
That's probably been, I would probably say, my second favourite module since being at uni. I would probably say this dissertation could be my favourite, depending on how the outcome looks, I guess.
Yeah.
That was just unbelievably fun. I know we didn't get the grade that we wanted, and we got a disappointing grade, but I mean, it was just so funny.
No, it was great. I really enjoyed doing that, so I was really happy on it. I mean, it's funny, you saying that it was sort of the best module that we did, because in a way, like, almost all of it was just us doing our own thing and planning everything, and in a lot of ways, so is this disc to an even further extent, because it's like, I mean, I know you have like a producer and stuff and all of this, and I kind of have that, but for the most part, I'm just doing everything myself, so it's quite a lot to keep track of. I am happy though. I told you the other day that I've got someone composing music for my film.
Oh, that's insane. You inspired me actually to reach out to the music department for the guild to compose music for my film as well. So hopefully I've got a student. They're going to send out a newsletter on Thursday about it, and if not, Johnny said he might help me out, because I said to him that plan D or E would be me to sit in K House for 24 hours plus or whatever and learn myself, but that would probably be near enough impossible considering how long that would take.
Yeah, probably not the easiest thing to do. Maybe if you had someone to mentor you for those 24 hours, it might work. Yeah, that seems tough. I know this is such a strange thing to come out of this project, because like originally, I'm just expecting a few people to respond to the casting call and just, voice interest. And when I originally got this email, I saw applying for music composer, and I thought, oh, maybe it's someone at uni is sort of interested in it. And then I read through the email and I see she's saying she's from Jakarta and that she's worked on all this stuff, and she sent me all these links to other like films and TV that she's worked on, and she sends me some clips from like stuff that she's made, and I'm listening to it and I'm just thinking like, why has she come to this project to see this like random like Instagram post that was like that I made in like 2 minutes, and saw the caption and thought, oh yeah, I wanna work on this. I mean, I'm very glad she did, and she's not fake, at least unless it's the most elaborate scam that I've ever come across. I very much doubt that she's fake, but she sent me a bunch of sort of or she sent me a playlist with all these tracks that she thought might be sort of in line with what I'd want, and sort of I sent her something back yesterday about it. So she said, actually I haven't seen her response yet, but I think hopefully she's going to start working on some demos for the film, which is it's just so crazy. And because she's sending me like all these like Hans Zimmer like tracks and stuff from films, and I'm like, if this is the quality that you're expecting to be able to produce for the film, I feel like I'm gonna let you down by having a project that just doesn't actually fit the level of quality that she's gonna provide. But I hope I can, because I really like my script and I think I could do something good with it. But already I have a very promising member of my team to to help things along. So,
what type of music are you going to look for?
So, I mean, it's a few different kind of things. There's a specific point in the film, excuse me, where the main character is sort of very overwhelmed in a situation, and someone in the room comes and gives them a pair of headphones, and they start listening to a sort of instrumental like piano track that's quite soft, quite like soothing, and sort of gets them to calm down as they sort of retrace into themselves, and then they open their eyes again and everyone's gone. And sort of the track for that, yeah, I have something very specific in mind, sort of like very soft, sort of quiet but like comforting piano piece, which from what I've heard from this woman, she's clearly very, very talented on piano, so I'm very excited to see what she can come up with for that. But otherwise, sort of it's going to be a lot of tracks that sort of show some sort of danger, but that aren't like very like obviously like danger, like it's tracks that can sort of give people an uneasy feeling, which is kind of the effect that I'm going for throughout most of the film, which is just kind of feeling quite uneasy, quite uncomfortable, watching what he's going through, because it's not a very comfortable feeling when you feel sort of isolated, and being alone isn't necessarily a bad thing, like you can be alone for many years and be happy if you know how to exert yourself and do things. But sometimes that there's a very big difference between being alone and being lonely and isolated, and I think to do that, and people who go through that do end up just kind of feeling uncomfortable in their day-to-day lives, and it's not a feeling that's enjoyable.
Yeah, I definitely would agree that it's okay to be by yourself. I think it's pretty much impossible to be mentally happy for a long time and have no friends and no one at all. Being socially isolated, for example, is probably not the best for your own mental health and well-being. But obviously, like working by yourself and sitting in a room by yourself and doing your own things, I like doing that. I'm naturally introverted, so I prefer to hide away and just get my work done. Yeah, because I can talk a lot, but that also helps. That doesn't really help when you're trying to get stuff done. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, I go to the cinema on my own quite a bit. I have been doing that more recently. I mean, partially because I do that when I run the cinema. Here, I sort of, if I want to go in and watch a film, usually there's no one else necessarily that I know that's watching it, so I just go in, watch on my own. And it's quite a nice feeling, actually, going to cinema by yourself, because you can sort of feel like you're experiencing things just sort of like there's no one else around you, even though there might be other people in the cinema. The experience can feel quite personal and quite gratifying when you're in the cinema alone. But at the same time, I do obviously like coming out of the cinema with other people that I can talk to. So sort of a mix for me. I think both are enjoyable. I'd say if I had to pick, probably going to the cinema with friends is something I prefer. But I do also enjoy sort of just being in a cinema in what feels like being on my own. Something I quite like.
So shame we didn't record this next Tuesday because I'm watching Dune on Saturday, and I know how happy you are.
I mean, this would just be the Dune Part 2 episode if you'd already seen it, but because I could already start talking about it even without getting into spoiler territory. But
what should I look out for when I'm watching it to really appreciate the film in its whole?
You don't need to look out for anything. You're just gonna be immersed in it as soon as I don't doubt that you'll love it. I mean, it's gotten such high praise. I don't remember the last time a film has gotten like this high praise on release, especially a film of this scale. I mean, it's like a $200 million budget, which is massive. And when you actually think about it, like what other films on that budget have had like a real long-lasting impact? Like you could maybe talk about the sort of Avengers saga and Infinity War and Endgame, but even those I don't think quite have that impact. Like people really were into them when they were coming out, and it was a big event when it was coming out. But I think now, like, people aren't just kind of watching Infinity War or Endgame sort of in their own time. I mean, I might be wrong, but I don't feel like that's something people are necessarily doing all the time outside of, real, like, Marvel fans.
So do you mean like watching it at home and stuff?
Yeah, just sort of like re-experiencing it again. I'm sure people are doing it, but I just think this film, like Dune Part 2, this is like on the level of like Lord of the Rings in terms of like creating a franchise that people are really passionate about and people want to be able to rewatch over and over. I mean, I'm probably going to go watch it again this week because I can't wait to see it again and again and again. And I just, it's one of the first films where I've just felt like I need more of that and I need to be able to experience it as many times as I can because I've never left the cinema so happy and so fulfilled. I think maybe even in my life, I'm not sure, but considering I've been going to the cinema so much lately, it really was sort of amazing, the feeling of coming out of that film and literally not being able to stop thinking about it for the next like 3 days. I mean, I'm still thinking about it, and it's Tuesday now, and I saw it last Thursday, but it's really something special. Just everything hits, like the scale of the film and the scale of the like battle sequences, like because you've seen the first one, we saw it together, but the sandworms, right, in the first one, are really cool. Like just the design of them and like, the way that you can really feel how massive they are. You can feel a lot more of that in the second one, and there's so much with the sandworms that I think is amazing.
I think my critique for the first one was that I couldn't hear the dialogue as well.
Really?
Yeah, I think I struggled to hear the dialogue because I think some of it sounded quite quiet in contrast to how loud the music and the background, the atmospheric sounds were. I mean, I'm sure the dialogue in this one must be completely fine if everyone's praising it, because I feel like dialogue is such an important thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think I kind of remember that, and I think it might have just been a case of where we went to see it, because I did like a double bill with the first one when I went to see the second, and I didn't feel that at all like on a rewatch. Like it sounded very, very crisp, and at the same time, I felt like it wasn't quite as loud as when we first went to see it, which wasn't necessarily a bad thing. It was very sort of regulated, but the sounds that were loud, really hit. But yeah, I thought actually dialogue was good, and excuse me. I think it works with what it's doing, and even though like I feel like the dialogue that's most important in the first one, you can hear, and you can hear all the dialogue, but yeah, I think it works, and the second one is just it just does everything the first one does better, in my opinion. Yeah.
We probably watched it in the Odeon. That's probably what the issue was.
Yeah, Odeon actually isn't that great.
I remember when we watched Oppenheimer, and it was the bomb scene, wasn't it? When everything went completely silent, and all you hear like a guitar in the background from like someone screaming.
Pop music or something that's playing. I was so upset. I was like, this is such a cool experience that I'm actually like, I can't stay focused right now.
That was a great experience in the View. I feel like we're watching it on Saturday in the View, Dune Part 2. If you're interested, if you want to come with us, we'll be watching it from like 12 till 3, whatever, until it finishes.
Yeah, I might, to be honest.
I'll add you to the chat after this. I think sound in film is fantastic. Speaking of Oppenheimer, I think the sound design in that is probably one of my favourite films in terms of sound design. You got the stomping of the feet, and then you've got the way it hits with the bomb going off.
Yeah,
was fantastic, and the music as well. Can You Hear the Music is probably like one of my favourite songs created from a film.
Yeah, I mean Ludwig Göransson, the guy who does the score for that film, is just kind of brilliant, and I think this is him really working at the top of his game with what he's doing. I can't remember something he's done. He's done a lot of like quite established films. He did Tenet as well, which I know I haven't seen Tenet, but I know the score for that is quite good, if anything. But this is kind of on a completely different scale, and it's just sort of you can really feel the music and when it's playing, and I mean it's no wonder people say like that the music is almost like too loud at times, because I feel like Nolan just heard what he was given and just thought he should try and use it as much as possible in the film, because it's just so good and just kind of enhances everything about the film. I'd be very surprised if that doesn't win the Oscar. I mean,
it's nominated for, I think it's 11 or 12 Oscars, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I think the record is 13, and I think that's Avatar or Titanic, if I'm not mistaken. But I mean, that's...
Avatar. It's such a weird one to be.
Well, not the second one, obviously, but the first one. Have you seen the second one?
I've not seen the first one, but I've seen the second one.
Yeah, it was alright. I mean, it wasn't... I think the first one was better, and I think it went on 20-30 minutes longer than it needed to.
Yeah, I mean, it just was not really that interesting. I wasn't... It's all good when you can show cool effects and cool visuals, but if you have like nothing to go with it, then it's just not really that interesting. And that's why, for me, Dune Part 2 works so well, is because that film has some of the most stunning visuals and stunning, like, spectacular battle sequences I've ever seen in film, but they work so well because of the actual, like, emotional levity behind them and the stakes and everything that's going on in those sequences where like, what's going down. It just makes them so much more, like, impactful. And, well, the way I felt sort of watching some of the battle sequences of that film is just unmatched. It was so cool, and I can't wait to sort of experience that again. And hopefully it's sort of, this is ushering a new era perhaps where studios finally actually use their big budgets properly and actually use them to their fullest extent. But maybe it's just Denis Villeneuve, who's that great of a director that he can basically perform magic on screen with what he's given, which I think is partially the case, because I think his films are pretty amazing. I mean, I'm sure you've seen some of his stuff, like Prisoners.
Oh, yeah.
Or he did Arrival, which...
That's the guy who plays Hawkeye.
Yeah, he's in that. Yeah,
I forget what his name.
I've been meaning to watch Arrival. I haven't seen it yet, but he did Blade Runner 2049. Which have you seen that?
It's funny because I've not seen the first one, but I've seen the second one.
I mean, don't need to have seen the first one to watch the second. Although, I mean, I love both. They're two of my favorite sci-fi films. Blade Runner was my favorite sci-fi film for the longest time, and then this film came along. So I won't say any more about it because I'm sure, I'll let you experience it when you get to this weekend. But
yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man.
Definitely.
I'm looking forward to it. It's nice to go to the cinema and experience new films. I don't do it enough as much as I used to when I was younger. I think maybe that's down to being busy. Yeah, I know when we finish our uni stuff in, May, I know I'll have more time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So I had an idea of going to different parts of Devon and going to the cinemas there and just seeing whatever films I got going on. I know it sounds a bit random, but I went to Devon recently. I've been around Devon the last couple of months and sort of really appreciating how beautiful it really is. You know, there's so many great places around to go. And I want to take it in before I finish and potentially leave Exeter for the future. So, yeah. Crazy to think that we finish in, 2 months? If that?
Yeah, I'm still not really processing that. But, yeah, it is. It's pretty close. It's going to be weird.
Yeah. I think it's nice that we're moving on, though. I think it's about sort of it's time. I don't think I could do another year of uni. Maybe that's because I'm a bit older, a couple of years older than you and other people. And I feel like if I did another year, I would come to hate uni, I guess. Not hate it, but dislike it. You know, I feel like, I'm sure you can probably agree with me, but some of the modules that have done have not been the most enjoyable.
No.
You know. So the extracurricular stuff like we've done, like you got campus cinema, I've got XTV, that's really helped me bring a lot of meaning to uni, and I'll miss it, but I know that if I were to do another year of XTV, I would probably dislike that as well.
I mean, you work so much, like in this society. It's honestly like pretty. I mean, it's very impressive what you're able to do and how much you're able to juggle at once. Campus cinema for me is something that keeps me busy a lot, but essentially it's something that I'm doing twice a week, whereas you're basically working full time as like this station manager, and to be able to do that like for basically 2 years now is pretty amazing. Like I don't think I could do that, but at the same time, it's great because it's sort of preparing you for that sort of like routine, and having a position like this and being able to sort of continue to work and improve things in that position is sort of, I mean, I'm sure you'll be the manager of something in a few years' time.
That would be nice.
You'll be managing something or other, because you just kind of, you fit right into that kind of role.
Well, thank you. That's very nice of you to say.
As a position of sort of authority and of leadership, I think you work very well in that. I mean, I don't think I've met anyone who knows as many people as you, or seems to just kind of recognize everyone on campus. And that's such a cool thing. I mean, to be fair, like the humanities department and all of the people, you know, associated with the ex-media societies and everything are all kind of connected in a lot of ways, but I almost feel like you're like the connecting tissue. Like everyone is just knows each other through you somehow, or like you're just the person who brings it together. I mean, it's not just you. There's others who do a lot. And you know, a lot of the guys who manage expression and stuff, I know
they're very busy as well.
Do a lot and know a lot of people. But yeah, it's funny because I'm sort of over next door in my little cinema, and just sort of doing my own thing. And people come to the cinema a lot, but I'm just sort of there, and I like that because it's kind of my own thing.
You don't need to be too involved, really, do you, with the cinema? I think that's a good thing as well, because you know you're there to enjoy the film more than you are to see the people.
Yeah, But at the same time, campus cinema has been my favorite part of uni, and it's something that I've really, really enjoyed, and something that I actually would want to kind of do more of in the future, because it's working in that kind of sector and helping in exhibition and possibly distribution, which is what I'm currently looking into, is something I find really fascinating. And it's a part of the film industry that I was not at all familiar with before coming to uni. And now it's the part of the industry I'm probably the most interested in, which is kind of weird in a way, because I feel like I really wanted to work in the industry, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought maybe it's not really for me. I'm not, yeah.
I was say, what do you think it is about the industry that's put you off? Well, not put you off, but, changed your mind.
I think kind of just really coming to terms with the kind of chaos of it all, which is something that I don't know if I'd be able to regulate. Being able to kind of just work random hours, at random times of the day, and sort of always being on call to come out, to help with the shoot and stuff, which seems to be what a lot of people end up doing for a good chunk of their career if they do go work in the industry. I just don't think I could really sustain that. And I just think something a little bit more organized, a little bit more structured is something that I'm kind of looking for. And I love projectors and sort of everything around that. And I'd love to learn more about the sort of distribution process and everything that goes into actually, putting the films out there and getting them to the right people so that they can perform as best they can.
I 101% agree with you on the lifestyle that you have to live and how people live. That's actually one of the reasons why I don't want to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we did the contemporary industries in our first year, and I think it wasn't Jez, it was Don Boyd, I'm pretty sure he was talking about it in that. And I was sort of thinking, do I really want to live that life? Why put myself through that? I feel like I'm not criticising people that want to do it, but you really need to have a passion and a want to do it and go through all of that, really. And yeah, I'm definitely looking towards having something that's more organised. Even if it's like a 9-to-5 job, I don't mind doing something that's a bit boring for a bit, save up a bit of money and eventually go and travelling or something. I don't mind doing that for a bit. I feel like there's always, when you're working, you work 40 hours a week if you're doing a 9-to-5, then you've got plenty of other things to do,
Yeah. No, for you, I can see, especially you'd want to keep that kind of routine and stay in it and be able to sort of do all the things that you usually do every day, because that seems to work really well for you. And obviously it's something that you've worked on for many years to be able to get to where you are, and sort of like having that consistent routine of, waking up, sleeping at certain hours, and getting up to go to the gym and sort of do everything in line. It's something that's really difficult to do. Because I still haven't really gotten there. So I'd imagine once you have such a consistent routine, you wouldn't necessarily want to get rid of that,
No, it gives me a lot of meaning and joy. And I'll be honest, it makes me feel really good about myself doing it, know. I've had days when I've woken up late before and I just feel so shit about myself. So getting up early, getting in the gym is probably one of my favourite things I do.
Yeah.
So I feel like the industry wouldn't allow me to really do that unless I want to get up even earlier than what you have to. But what am I willing to sacrifice? And there's nothing I could really sacrifice, I think when we have free time, it would be spending time with family or friends.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's certainly a daunting thing, leaving here and leaving this sort of quite comfortable lifestyle in a lot of ways, because you have a lot of liberties and what you can actually do and stuff, because you're not fully committed to a job or to anything really. You're just sort of existing and going out and doing stuff related to your course, and maybe working a little bit on the side, but after this, it's sort of, you have to go in and
find something. Yeah.
And hopefully it sticks.
I think that's kind of a good thing though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
I am. I feel like we all get that feeling of insecurity and not finding what we want to do. But my granddad gave me some great advice. It was to apply for as many jobs as possible, work in as many jobs as possible until you find something that you like. While you're young, you haven't got any massive responsibility. You'd be paying rent, paying for your bills and stuff. You haven't got to pay for a family or provide for that. So you've got, and you're younger than me. You got plenty of time.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'm going to take on board, and I'm very grateful that I've got people like him around to sort of tell me what to do, and not tell me what to do, but give me advice that is actually very meaningful to me. Because I look up to him quite a lot. It's a big role model for me. So, yeah. I think you mentioned you're looking to do an internship in France.
Yeah, currently applying for that. I've got a few other things. I think I'm sort of trying to focus in a lot of my sort of job hunting and stuff on Paris and that region, because there is a lot of opportunity there, because it's a big city, and it's kind of hard to find a lot of the kind of thing I'm trying to find around here. I mean, certainly like in Exeter, any of that, like you're not really going to find anything. But even like anything outside London, there's like, there's maybe like Manchester or some places in Bristol, but it's just kind of something I've been looking into, obviously, but haven't really seen anything outside of London in what I want to do. So I don't really think the UK is necessarily right for what I want to do, and maybe France isn't either. But
you'll find out, won't you? You'll find out by going through it. So yeah,
that's definitely. Another thing that I kind of realized with cinema and film is it's something I've almost always been really passionate about, but kind of what I realized is it really is, for me, the experience of watching a film. That's what I really always enjoyed. Like when we made that film last year, it was a lot of fun, and I'm excited to start shooting this film that I'm going to be working on. But actually viewing and experiencing films is kind of what I've always loved, and it's kind of just one of the things in my life that I really like appreciate more and more, is just how much like film does for me, like more so than really anything else. I can't really feel the kind of emotions that I do when I experience film. I get very like emotional, and I'm quite sensitive, I guess, in some ways when it comes to film, because I can really like feel something when watching a film and fully like experience something that I just don't really get that much in my day-to-day life, and it's something that I kind of want to just keep being able to enjoy in my life. Like honestly, right now, if I was told that I had to do like one more thing and then I'd be gone, I think honestly I just want to go see Dune Part 2 like in IMAX, like on the biggest screen possible, and just experiencing that, and I think I'd be happy, because those kind of experiences in films is just something that I just love so much, and I've only come to love more and more with this course, which is one of the best things to have come out of this course, is just my passion for cinema and the art of cinema having just grown so much more in the last 3 years, or even in the last like year. Like so many films that I've just loved so much that I've seen the last year, that are now amongst my favorites. Like there's so few films in my like favorites like of all time that I haven't seen in the last like 2 years, which is crazy. Like I've just seen so much stuff lately, and that's kind of just what I really enjoy. So
you definitely are a film fan. I remember the amount of times that you told me to watch this film and that film, and then every week it adds like an extra 5 films, and I'm terrible at watching films. I do like watching films, you know. I'm not to the extent that you do. I mean, you're definitely more engaged with it than I am. I think what was that film that you recommended to me for the war module?
Come and See.
Come and See. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was something. Yeah. It's just one of those things that you do because you recommended me films. I always trust you because you always recommend me good films.
Yeah.
So Puss in Boots, that was probably one of my favourite Campus Cinemas experiences.
Yeah. Such a fun movie.
Yeah.
There's just like so many films out there, and so many of them are great. It's kind of I've had the opposite experience with film than I used to, which was I often used to think most films now are crap, and there's not really anything to watch, and there's only a few films that are really good. And I then started to actually go to the cinema because I didn't used to go to the cinema that much. I used to mostly just watch stuff at home and stuff and on the TV. And once I got here, I went to cinema a whole lot, and I realized there's so much great cinema, like even coming out now. Like last year, like 2023 for film is possibly like my favorite year like ever for film, because it's probably the year that I watched the most films, like new films in, but so many of those films I thought were incredible, and I was so like amazed at how many times I came out at the cinema and was just thinking, wow, that was such a good film, because that never really used to happen. I used to be like, oh, that was cool, and then I talk about it because I love talking about films before, but now I like so many times I'll come out of a film and just feel really happy and just like go home afterwards and just it's a really nice feeling that I want to be able to keep experiencing over and over. I can never really see myself getting tired of that.
What about Madam Web? Will you watch that?
No, I did not. I am tempted. Well, not really anymore after having seen Dune, to be honest. But I was tempted initially when it came out because I just heard that it's kind of comically bad. So I can kind of get behind that. I saw some clips of like the villain in that film, who's doing like ADR, which is when they like record over lines, basically.
Like, dub.
Yeah, basically like dub, and and it was so awful. Like I couldn't believe. Like I was watching, it was just really out of sync. Like all of his lines, it just felt like he wasn't actually speaking. Like his lips weren't even moving half the time. It was just like, what the hell? How does this get passed by like an entire like group of people that just like watch this film and they're like, yep,
that's
this
fine.
is ready to release. Like that's crazy to me. Like how do you cut that many corners?
What was the budget? It's a Marvel film, isn't it?
Sony. Yeah.
My God, they're big, aren't they? As well,
yeah.
I'm sure it's got a big budget of millions plus, surely.
I think it was like 80 million or something.
80 million,
if
and
I
they
can
can't
remember
do
correctly.
ADR properly. Because that's something that we'll probably have to do for our films. I know I had to do that for my films because some of the locations, so like the chapel, for example, is quite loud and spacious. So when George, one of the lead actors, was talking to Jack, their dialogue was really echoey. So what I'm going to have to do is either do ADR or hide a lapel mic when they speak.
Yeah.
Or when you hear stuff like Sony can't get their ADR properly, it's sort of like, oh shit, this is going to be quite challenging to do. Because I know Hugo, his film Gridlock, all his audio, I'm pretty sure he said to me all of it, or about 90% of it, is all ADR.
Really?
You don't know that?
I don't think I did, no. I mean, I can kind of see it at times. That's really impressive.
Because he told me after the fact that I've watched the his rough draft, like his final draft of it, and he told me, guess what? Oh, this is all like ADR, or 90% of it's ADR. I was like, holy shit, I couldn't even tell.
I mean, he did a great job with that film.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see more of his stuff because honestly, he's really talented actually as a script writer. I think actually he has a lot of potential. So
well, Phoenix Studios they're popping off. They released they announced their project Bollocks, wasn't it, yesterday on their GoFundMe. And do you know what? Within an hour of me knowing that it's been posted, I'm pretty sure it raised like £300+.
No way.
Yeah, I mean it's probably like 600, 700+ now. I could check. You know,
wow.
While we're live.
Oh, that's amazing. I had no idea. I kind of just thought they would have a bit of a hard time with it, because it's just like a small project and their whole like studio. It's not like a big thing or anything. But that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest though, they have got an incredible team. You've got, well, Mr. Reagan, of course, acting. You know, we've experienced Jack Randon. He's really good at it. You've got Sam as producer.
Yeah.
We've got Finn on sound.
Yeah.
Obviously Hugo's directing. I feel like they'd be completely fine.
Yeah, no.
Holy shit. Guess how much it's raised now?
If it's like anything over 1,000, I'd be very impressed.
No, it's £541.
540.
That is insane.
They released it like
yesterday.
Oh my god.
Or Monday, I think it was. But I mean, no. Yesterday was Monday. Today's Tuesday. Ignore me.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah, I honestly, like you said, they are talented. Well, Hugo's talented, but I feel like the whole team is definitely going to go places. And I really look forward to seeing what they can create in the future. I think it'd be nice to know when we have kids and stuff saying, "Oh look, we'll go to the cinema with our kids to watch like a Hugo Kilner film." Like we went to uni with him.
Yeah, I mean that would be amazing. I mean, obviously, it's such a long path to the top, but he seems very motivated and very committed to that craft. So
they're all passionate about it. That's that passion we're talking about earlier. You need to have passion to want to do it.
Yeah.
And
Brandon as well. Like I could see Brandon like getting up there. He's such an amazing actor, and I think he's already kind of started working on bigger projects and stuff. And
he was a stand-in, wasn't he, for the was it John Lennon film? I'm pretty sure that he told us. He told you at Gridlock, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was saying that he was in a film. I don't think he had like a speaking role, but he was in a film George Clooney directed that came out sometime in like January, called The Boys in the Boat, and he was telling me he has like a on-screen presence like in that film and stuff, like not just like random extra in the background, but like actual like sort of right there on the screen. You can very clearly see him apparently. So I'm very tempted to watch that just to find his face.
I just like to screenshot it or something. Yeah. Mark makes his appearance in another film.
It's a weird like thing. I think Exeter is actually quite a good place for connections, and there's actually quite a lot of people like in the industry who are sort of in and around Exeter, like Mark Commode, for example, like
Linda's husband.
Yeah. Linda's husband, and also, just happens to be one of the, if not the most, like, respected British critic in all the UK. It was so funny, like, this event that I went to, I think I might have told you, like, it was for, like, a special screening of a film that was hosted by the BFI that Linda and Mark were organizing, and they had, like, a little, like, thing beforehand, where they were like just doing like mince pies and stuff, and you just had like Mark Commode like coming around like, would you like some mince pies? It's like such a strange thing to just be like, hey, this guy has literally met like some of the most iconic directors and like people in the industry like of all time, and he's just out here giving us like mince pies. It's just a really, really surreal like.
Well, it's a level of humility to show, isn't it? Really, when you make it quite big, I feel like some people can really be egotistical and not look down on people. I actually, for one of my modules I did last term, I had to create some fake tweets as part of the publicity.
Mm-hmm.
I remember going to Mark's Twitter actually, and he has some of the most wholesome posts. You know, it was like a celebration of him and Linda's marriage. I think it was like 20 or 30 years. And he goes, 30 years ago today, I became the luckiest man on earth. And I was like, that is just wholesome.
Yeah.
You know, that's incredibly wholesome. But yeah, it's really nice to hear people like that have to keep that level of humility and, you know, just offer them mince pies. It's quite funny. It is quite funny as well, actually.
Yeah, because I mean, he was there to like host the like Q&A for the film, but it's the fact that, you know, he came beforehand and like, you know, he chatted with us and we were chatting about the new films and he was talking about like Close of the Flower Moon, saying how he thought it was too long. But it was so weird. Like he was just sat around with a bunch of like students and he was just chatting about films and stuff. And you can tell that he is just a man who's really passionate about films, which is what like pretty much all critics are. But it's kind of weird in a way because you often will put these critics in kind of high regard. I mean, not always, but, you know, you kind of have this feeling like, oh, yeah, these are like the superior, you know, like film enthusiasts. And then you talk to one and then you just realize, no, they're just people that like films and that happen to be good at writing about it. And that's all there is to it, which, yeah.
I was going to ask you a question. Do you think you would ever start like a YouTube channel or like a podcast or something talking about films? Because I feel like you could. I really would want to see you do something like that. Even if it's like a 10-minute video on the film. I feel like you have got that talent and that love for film that you could do it. I would keep pushing you to do it because I would want to see you do that. You know, I think like you have that love, like I said.
Yeah, in a way it's something that I feel like I've thought about my entire life and yet have never gone through it. They're not my entire life, but
last couple of years probably.
So I don't know if you ever do this, and this is probably going to sound weird, but I've done this for a long time, but I often sort of, after watching a film or after like seeing something or listening to something, I'll sort of like imagine myself reviewing said thing like afterwards and sort of like.
I don't think that's weird.
No, like it's just a funny thing I've done for a long time. And
if you're gonna say like, do you ever imagine yourself jerking off to a film after watching it? I'm like, okay, that's a bit weird, man.
No. Well, maybe I'm not telling, but yeah, that kind of thing is something I've thought about for a long time, and it's something I'd really just need to sit down and do. I mean, that video essay that I made last term for that one module is one I'm really happy with. Like, yeah, I think I was telling you recently.
Got first for it, right?
Yeah, but did I tell you about like sort of the feedback I got for it? Because it was very much like, it's the first time I think I've ever gotten this, but it was just like Deborah being like really, really interesting, really insightful. Like you used some really great examples and everything was super interesting. And then like in like what to improve, she was just like, oh, nothing to improve. This was just really good. And I'm like,
holy
wow,
shit.
that's such high praise.
Well, if that's not a sign to start something, man. Come on. If I could produce for you the equipment, like the cameras and stuff, and film you doing it, would you be willing to do it?
Probably.
If we would start together next term, like, I'm being serious, like, generally, you know, even if it's like I sit a camera in front of you, record you talking into like a lav mic or some shit for like 10 minutes.
I'll be like,
and I'll edit it for you because I'd want you to do it. I feel like you could do it.
Yeah, I'll turn into like Moist Critical. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
Today we got the latest.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I'm being serious. If you would want to, please do. Like.
Yeah, that could be a fun project actually, and I probably won't be up to that much during that month outside of just looking for
jobs.
So, yeah. I'd be down for that.
Let me make a note on my calendar to email you. Not email you, that's very professional. I could just message you on WhatsApp instead.
Email me.
Yes. Dear William Hicks, remember what we said? No, it would be to make sure once I finished my dissertation, that's my final thing actually due in. Like because that's the final thing, the 3rd of May.
Oh, yeah, technically, I guess. Because I was thinking, like, obviously we have other stuff.
Well, the essay's during the 29th of April.
Oh, of April, okay. You scared me for a second.
Well, you thought I was going to say, like, March or something?
Yeah.
Mate, I would have followed through if I said that.
Yeah. That's fun. I need to get better. Editing is something I really want to try and get better at. And hopefully this film will do that. But I've been starting to actually watch editing stuff, especially like color grading and color correction is something that I'm not really that familiar with. And I do a lot of photography as well, and I have no idea like how to color grade any of my photos. So I just have all this stuff that I think looks good, but I don't know how to like improve it. So
that's what I'm learning as well for my film. The DaVinci Resolve is pretty good for that.
Yeah,
From what I was watching on YouTube, actually, funny enough, yesterday as well, it was like, holy shit! Some of the footage, that how it looked like quite grey and charcoal-y, and how it looks absolutely stunning after. It's just, and how simple it is to sort of do it. I know it sounds not that simple when you probably watch it, but when you get to practice and learning it, you're like, holy shit, this is incredible. So yeah, I think you could do a lot of video essay stuff as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, just kind of simple, straightforward editing for video essays and stuff. I could do that because I did do that. I did that last term, and it wasn't too bad. I basically just spent the whole day, like, in the suite. It was just like a random computer. Well, no, I did it on my computer. What am I talking about? But yeah, I did.
You're smoking some.
No, because I was next to a computer when I was doing it. But yeah, I just kind of spent the whole day editing, and I actually really enjoyed the process, which I was quite surprised by, because like I do not have that kind of focus usually with anything else, where I'm just gonna literally spend like 12 hours straight like doing something. Like I've never really had that. Really, usually it's something that takes me ages to really get around to, or it's the pressure from having to do it just before it's due that gets me to get through it. But this was just, I had time, but I just spent the whole day editing, and it was fun.
I think when we come to edit our films as well, hopefully you're saying the same thing again and not stressing about the deadline, because I don't know about you, but for me, I have to sort of finish it in that final week or term, because I don't come back until the end of April.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because my dad and my brother decided to be born at the end of April. So I have to go home for that. But obviously I do. But if I'm struggling and I haven't got much done, obviously I'll come back to Exeter for like a week or two.
Yeah.
And then go back again in April. Because I want to make sure that's ready to go.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to be probably going back home for maybe like a week. Because, I mean, first of all, I have some stuff. I have like an implant that I have to do. Because I'm just missing a molar. So... Need to get an implant for that.
A what?
A molar, like my back, like the big teeth.
Oh,
you
right.
have like at the end. Don't know how else to describe it, but yeah, I am missing one, so I need to get that replaced, or not replaced. I need to literally get one implanted, and I also have to replace one of my passports. So. Yeah, I've got that to do, and then I also just want to be home for Easter, because Easter is really early this year. It's like right at the start of April. So
it's literally that week we break up. It's that weekend, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I actually have a lot of stuff to do before then. So that's like the time crunch for me is like the next couple of weeks, because that's where I have the most to do. But after that, actually, hopefully I'll have all of my footage, and I already will have made a rough edit. It's going to be a very rough edit by the end of this month. But once I have that, it's kind of just going to be smooth sailing. I'll just be able to spend most of the month editing, and then job hunting, and I'll probably still be here for like the sort of second half of April. So I'll have lots of time to do stuff, and yeah.
Are you gonna go home before graduation, or are you just gonna stay?
I don't know. That's a good question, actually. I haven't really thought about that too much. But there's a chance that I won't, and that I'll just try and find like some work, before like between like April and graduation. which is probably what I'm gonna try and do. And then, after graduation, who knows? But I kind of know. But yeah,
because you were thinking about Bristol. I'm pretty sure you mentioned to me before with your brother, right?
I was. Yeah, the reason, I mean, that still is something I could potentially do, but it's like for what I specifically want to go into, there isn't really anything in Bristol. I mean, there is stuff, but there's no like openings or like internships or anything like that going on. So yeah, I'm not too sure about Bristol, but France, going back home to live with my parents is not necessarily a bad thing, and I've sort of come to realize that it's something that could actually be quite beneficial if I do find sort of proper like work when I'm there and I'm sort of living by the same routine as my parents, and I'm able to sort of properly like get into that, then that would help me a lot, I think, just sort of for my future and building that sort of proper way of life that isn't like really unstructured and chaotic, which is kind of what it's been for a while now. So I'm quite far away from the mic.
I can still hear you.
You can hear me,
I can still hear you clearly.
I
feel like you might.
The more I get comfortable, the more I sort of
lean back
walk away from the mic. So
yeah, I got to sit up.
I'll get a bit closer. But
who's in the old studio?
A lot of unplugging things from what I can hear. Yeah,
man.
How are you feeling about the future?
Optimistic, and also I would admit a bit nervous, but good nervous, because I feel like if you're not nervous about the future, then you don't really care, then, do you?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think I know I'll better get a job. You know, I will. I'm confident in that. I will apply whatever comes my way, really. I wouldn't mind a graduate job in Exeter, stay here for another year or two, maybe move to London or Bristol or somewhere in the southwest or London. But really, I honestly have, no concrete plans at the moment. So it's just sort of see what comes my way. Yeah. Yeah. I think as long as you have the belief that you can get something, you will find something.
Yeah, I think it's a good way of looking at it. It's quite daunting, I find, because I have a lot of friends who are sort of, I mean, they're doing courses in like engineering or sort of maths and like a lot of like coding stuff, and I have one friend who's currently studying in the US, and he's like, he's telling me he bought all his clothes for like $600, and I'm like, how can you afford that? And he's like, oh, I made like $1,500 like in the last week, like from working and doing like part-time stuff. And I'm like, $1,500, and I like calculate that comes to like a $72K a year like salary.
Holy shit.
Which, I mean, he was saying this isn't like what he's making every week, but it was just sort of, he had helped a lot of hours that week, but because he's working at NASA part-time, and then he's also like helping out like with a lab like supervisor role at his university. So he's just got so much going on, and he's on the path to being in a really comfortable job if he keeps this up. It's weird to be at this stage now where I'm actually seeing like my friends get into the work, getting into actual jobs that are actually going to pay well. And like, I'll probably see him in like 5 years' time with a like Bugatti or something.
Do you know what? It's interesting to hear that you're at that stage of life. Me being a couple of years older, obviously my friends are older than yours.
Yeah.
And they're in a different stage of life. And my, Tom, Bulky Tom.
Yeah.
We were sitting and saying it the other week that we're going to eventually hear one of our friends that's got a kid come on the way. And then we've hit that stage of, holy shit, it's hitting, one pops off, the next one goes, that sort of thing. So it's interesting to hear, you come through all these stages in life, don't you? You remember when
Yeah.
you were like primary school, secondary school with your friends,
Yeah.
not really caring about like work and stuff. And then obviously you come to college and uni and the academic stuff. You have like the part-time stuff and realising people that are about to graduate or they just started uni. And then you come after that, you go into like the job market. And then you got that stage where you're a couple of years into the job market and it's people are about to announce that they have a kid and have a family, man. It's nice to see that. That's how life goes though. And you want the best for obviously everyone that's in your life. Yeah. It's also quite like scary in a way, like holy shit, where's that time gone?
Yeah. Where has that time gone? Indeed, where have the last 3 years of my life gone? that I'm here now contemplating my future. It's coming. I mean, I don't see really any of my friends from home getting married or even coming close to getting married anytime soon.
Is that because their skills are
no
romantically, or
they're just not the kinds of people who are necessarily trying to get into relationships. Actually, no, that's not true. I have a friend who's Muslim and he's very religious and he's sort of lives by the sort of mantra of not really dating people or not like being in a relationship unless you're planning to get married. So if he actually just finds someone that he's really happy with, he probably will just get married. So that's probably the most likely person out of the bunch, which is kind of funny because he's also never been really the type of person to be that comfortable around girls all the time. Although it's funny, he's with someone currently kind of, but he's like, oh, we're not dating. But then he's like, oh, we went ice skating the other day and we were holding hands, but this wasn't a date. And I'm like, okay, sure, buddy.
Yeah, we started shagging, but it wasn't a date.
No, yeah. Honestly, I feel like no, he wouldn't go that far. He's a very smart guy, but yeah, it is indeed. I mean, I'm sure for you, really gonna start reaching that stage quite soon.
Yeah,
the old man.
Fuck you. It was at Christmas. I came just before I came back. No, just after I came back to Exeter. I had a friend, a long friend that I've known since I was 9 or 10. No, yeah, 9 or 10. And now he and his girlfriend have just moved into a house together. They've been together for 8 years. Yeah.
8 years. It's a long time before moving in together, to be fair.
Well, they were... What year? It was their prom that he asked her out. No, what am I talking? Yeah, I've known him for a long time, but they got together, I think it was at their year 11 prom. And they did like things like travelling together. I know she went to uni for about 3 or 4 years after they went travelling for like 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So there's obviously that factor.
Is that your mate John?
No, not John.
Was...
This is another Tom.
Oh, okay.
You've not met this Tom,
okay.
But hopefully you do one day because he's a lovely guy. And probably like I think he's my longest friend I've known. Longest friend, that doesn't make sense. The friend that I've known for the longest, I think that's a better way of putting it. That's the proper grammar. The longest friend I've known, he's like extremely tall. Really very, stretched out.
Very long, yeah. Whatever that means. Just like a stick. Just so thin and long.
Oh, God. Yeah. What about you? Have you got, your brother? How's he holding up in Bristol?
I think he's doing all right. To be fair, I haven't spoken to him that much recently. Just sort of messages in passing, but yeah, I think he's all right. Just kind of getting through, I guess, a weird patch in his life. Still kind of figuring his shit out. So I think, I think he's kind of got a lot to get through right now because he sort of wants to do stuff in music, but I don't think he's necessarily fully committed to that because he doesn't it doesn't seem like he's going like all the way necessarily. And you know, if he does choose to and he figures it out, that's going to be great. But I actually think he's not necessarily wanting to do that, and I think he's might be sort of pushing himself to believe that this is what he wants to do because he's been playing piano for a long time and he does love music. But yeah, I don't know if he's necessarily fully committed to it. I hope he sort of figures out soon enough that what he actually wants to do in his life. But I think currently he's sort of on a path to discovering that. And through that, he's been quite sort of on edge in a lot of ways. So he's not been the most like approachable. So I'm kind of not speaking to him as much, kind of letting him get through whatever he has to get through.
Yeah, I'm pretty same as you, but I'm pretty terrible at messaging the family, sort of thing, to see how they're doing. I think that's sort of just a thing, though, isn't it? Really, I think guys are probably normally like that, aren't they? You know, a bit bad at texting family. I mean, me and you have been being examples of that. Maybe you're better than me. You probably are. I mean, I try to call every 2 weeks, but it's been about once a month.
Oh, really? Yeah.
So
I've been calling more than that, but usually it is them that instigate calling. But to be fair, I have tried to be more sort of upfront and more kind of honest with my parents, I guess, on a lot of sort of just what's going on with my life, and actually try to talk to them about how I'm feeling and stuff, because they are very kind of important people for me, and they're people that I can rely on. So I want to be able to maintain that. And this last Christmas, I sort of realized that more than ever, that they are both really important to me, and they're the reason that I'm here and the reason that I've gotten to where I am in life. So what I should do, really nothing but sort of respect them and give them the respect they deserve, even if I don't necessarily agree with everything, you know, they'll say to me, or like feel like I need to respect everything they say, like that I need to do all the time. But yeah, I want to generally respect them and respect the way they feel.
That's beautiful.
And my brother, I don't know if he necessarily feels that same way. It's sort of a weird feeling to be like that. I won't get into this because
it's not for the podcast.
Yeah, but it's something that just in general for me at least, wanting to open up to family, I think is something quite important, and something that I would hope people, you know, have figures in their life that they can speak to, not even necessarily like people that they can look up to, but people that they can really like open out to, I think is such an important thing. And whether that's, you know, your parents or your closest friends, I hope that, you know,
people have someone
I know
that.
You know, you have people around you, people surrounding you that are important in your life and that you can connect with. I mean, you have so many people here alone that are here for you, you know, like I'm here for you, and so many others here.
As am I for you. As am I for you.
Yeah. It's
very important.
It's very important.
That appreciation that you have for your parents is something that you definitely get more as you get older. I know for a fact that that's something that I've had with when I came to uni and stuff, and really appreciating my dad, you know, for what he's done. You know, the guy pretty much drove me from Cambridge all the way down here, and that's about 5 hours there and back.
Yeah.
He's given up so much for me, you know. And I remember when I went home over Christmas, we had these videotapes from when I was a kid, like running around and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I remembered in these videos that when my dad would come home from work, my mum was filming me, I'd always go, "Daddy, Daddy's home," and it was always such a sweet thing to watch. It does bring tears to my eyes just thinking about that. I'm not thinking about it now, but when I was watching it then, that relationship that I've had with my father, it's always been quite strong. It's one of the reasons why I'd want kids one day, to have something like that.
Yeah.
It's just beautiful, really, isn't it?
Yeah. It's an important connection that you can have in your life if you choose to have it. I feel like if you don't as well, there's plenty of other ways that you can feel fulfilled. But I do think people who have children and who are able to find a lot of fulfillment in having that, deep connection that you basically can't really get with anyone else. I think those people end up being very happy in their life, despite the sort of inherent sort of struggles that initially come with having children. It's having children is something that I've kind of been back and forth on for a very long time now. And honestly, I'm still not entirely sure where I stand personally in terms of what I'd really want. But I can appreciate that having children and having that connection is a really great sort of life experience.
Yeah, I wasn't 23, 24 when I was concrete on I want kids one day. Probably not soon, not for a couple of years, because there's things I want to do first. I'm sure you're the same. You've got shit to achieve,
Yeah.
How's the photography going, actually? Because I know you do that quite a bit.
I enjoy it. It's something I do. I enjoy doing in my free time. But I don't know. I just kind of want to continue doing that and see if that sort of takes me anywhere. But it's not something I'm necessarily like set on, like going into photography necessarily. I do enjoy it a lot, so I want to just keep it as a hobby, I think, right now, and sort of maybe try and do more. I know some people who work in photography who I could probably get in contact with if I wanted to sort of get out there and do more with photography. But right now it's kind of a hobby that I enjoy doing a lot. And yeah, like yesterday I was out doing like photography or actually no, it wasn't yesterday, it was the day before, but I was out just in the rain, like just photographing plants and stuff, and it's just a very sort of therapeutic experience, just going out and doing photography. Yeah. And as I was saying, I still need to learn how to actually color correct and like color grade images, but once I can actually do that, then that should be fun.
But I'm sure you definitely see an improvement from when you first did photography to now.
Yeah, in terms of what I can do, yeah, of course I have a much better understanding of what kind of makes a good photograph, but I'm not necessarily, like, I don't have the equipment to necessarily get the kind of shots that, people look at and say, wow, this is amazing. But I think I can photograph stuff that's quite good quality, and, I'm looking to continue like photographing birds and stuff and doing that kind of thing, because I really enjoy sort of listening to birds in the morning and listening to their like songs, and that can be really nice, just sort of looking out for birds in the trees and then going out to try and photograph them. It's quite a lot of fun, and then if you get a good photo out of it, then it's cool, but if not, then
you've
I'm
lived
okay
that experience, haven't you?
Yeah, it's just a nice thing to do. Yeah.
You should go out into Devon more. I
should, indeed.
I generally, when it comes to that time in May, when we've got May, June, whatever, you should go out more.
Was it you I was talking about? No, it wasn't. I was Or was it you? I don't remember. I was talking to someone about possibly going like hiking out in Dartmoor.
Yeah, you mentioned it to me
I
before.
think it was mentioning to you, yeah. But that'd be fun.
We would have to go when the military are not training, because
Yeah.
most of it's cut off for training purposes.
True.
But there's places like Barnstable, Ilfracombe, maybe Plymouth, Paynton, Teignmouth that we can go to for a day.
Yeah, we should go to Plymouth because Plymouth also has they have an IMAX cinema.
Do they?
Yeah,
Whereabouts? Oh, you have
in
not.
Plymouth. I've been to Plymouth, but I don't know it Plymouth like.
I've only been there once, and it was a nice place, but it was very windy. Very windy.
Yeah.
It was early. It was beginning of January.
I think I played some frisbee matches down there, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it's in Plymouth. It's somewhere on the coast, one of those coastal towns that there's an IMAX cinema. Yeah, so you go go see Dune Part 2 in IMAX in Plymouth and then go hiking.
It's funny you mentioned IMAX. All I can think of are the memes of Oppenheimer. You know, the really one when his face is really stretched out, and it's the guy sitting right in front of the cinema is like as Oppenheimer intended.
Yeah, I really want to go to like the BFI IMAX. You know, the one that we went to see the Batman. Like, I really want to be able to go there and get like the best seat possible and experience something like Dune or even like another film there. But it's so hard to get seats. Like, when there's a big event film like
Good luck
showing there, like it just sells out. Like,
and ticket it like what, 20 quid plus?
Yeah, but I mean I'd say it's worth it for something like that. I'm not out here buying popcorn and snacks and stuff, so
You just be going.
if it's just for the ticket, then yeah, I'm fine with that, honestly, because I just want to be able to experience some stuff on the biggest screen possible, especially when it's a big, like, spectacular film. But yeah, it's funny to start talking about IMAX. The way conversations just sort of flow into each other. So we were just talking about walking in Dartmoor, and then like
The
2
IMAX,
minutes, 2 minutes later,
talking about
going to IMAX.
Yes, that's why this show's not really. Well, my podcast is not scripted. I just want to talk about whatever, you know, and you can go from anything. You know, that James's episode we were talking about video games at one point. Then we went on to hate speech and rapists. So you can definitely move about with what you talk about, can't you?
I'm maybe glad I wasn't part of that.
Yeah.
That discussion.
Well, all you got to listen to is the intro for that, and you sort of get a gist of what the actual conversation's about. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, James's intro is unzip your pants. He doesn't realise I was recording.
Oh.
So, and it sounded pretty funny. I was like, do you know what? I'm just gonna keep it that way. So,
Sure.
yeah.
I have started playing BioShock, actually, speaking of video games.
Which one? What, the first one?
Yeah, the first one. I got like the full collection was on sale for like £8, so I was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll buy it. I'll probably play it at some point. So I played that a little bit. It's fun. I didn't really realize the originals actually is really good. It's quite scary as well.
It's a very good game.
Yeah.
Outstanding game. It's funny because Tom gave me a hope yesterday. He said to me he thought there was talk of remastering World at War.
Oh yeah.
And obviously we found out it was complete bullshit. He might have just heard it from a friend or something, but that's a game. I remember you and Troy went for the whole of that, didn't you, on Veteran?
Yeah,
Was it on Veteran? No. Yeah, you didn't put yourself through that. That was probably for the best.
I mean, we were already struggling, I think, on some parts. I mean, he's a lot better. I'm terrible at shooters, so I just remember one. I think it's like one of the very last missions where there's just like a million soldiers like coming down the stairs, and you're just like constantly like gunning them down. But it's just like it's like excessive amount that you're like taking on with like 3 people. This makes no sense. But
that mission, we did it 4-player on Veteran a couple of years ago, and it took us a week to complete.
Yeah,
like
with more
generally
people, there's even more like enemies.
It's just complete AIDS. It was all you hear is ding 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 from all the grenades like bouncing off the floor and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And we were doing it wrong the whole entire time. We're a bunch of retards just like shooting you're supposed to move up and stuff, and whatever, the pillar falls down, but we weren't doing it properly. And I remember every time someone would have got down, you'd hear, ah, and you'd have to run across the map to try and save them, and he'd be like, ah, and you'd keep going backwards and forwards. Do you know what? Although I don't play video games anymore, I do have fond memories of my time playing video games. You know, stuff like the Call of Duty World at War series or Halo. Halo 2 was so funny. You know, I completed that with John and Sean in separate sessions on co-op on Legendary, and that is near enough like probably the hardest gaming experience I've had. Because if one of you dies, the whole inside, like, you restart checkpoint, and you can't revive each other. So you literally, like, you can get one hit by snipers as well, and that's
rough.
Finishing, like, playing at like 2:00 in the morning, just wanted to finish it. You know, it's an experience. You know, and I'm happy I don't do it anymore, because I don't think I'd have the capacity to do it anymore. You know, like I said, the routine is something that sticks more than willing to sacrifice my time for video games and stuff.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
We actually are coming to the end as well. We've got a couple more minutes. So I'm going to ask you, how can people find you, if you want to be found, that is?
They'll find me in the forest.
In the forest.
I'll be hiding, waiting for them. No. Let's see.
You could shout at the campus cinema if you want to.
I run the Campus Cinema. It's a cinema that is right on campus. It is located in Devonshire House, but you can find it if you just look it up on Google Maps. And we show films every Tuesdays and Sundays, at least during term time. Outside of term time, there's no one around, so it's kind of dead. But yeah, we show a lot of new films, a lot of classics. It's a good time. I love it. I love cinema, so if you're looking for a cheap experience in Exeter to go see films, this is the place to be. Although I'm imagining if you're listening to this podcast, then you probably do know about the Camp Cinema, but you never know.
You never know.
But otherwise, that's I don't need to plug my socials.
People will find you.
Yeah.
Oh.
Campus Cinema is kind of basically my social at this point, because I just, every time I chat with people, it comes up at least once, because I just try and advertise it. That's my, like, interacting with women. It's just like
Campus Cinema.
Campus Cinema. Have you heard of Campus Cinema?
Well, Will, thank you for joining.
Yeah. It was very great chatting with you.
Yeah, no, it's a pleasure to have you on.
It's very nice.
Thank you, everybody.